welcome you to Beyond the Bell from here at the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California, where we just saw yet another thrilling performance from William Zepeda as he chopped Giovanni Cabrera down as we take a look at the moment of the night. And Sergio, it looked for about one round like we might not get this moment quite as early as we did.
No, I expected Cabrera to put up a fight. That first round, he came out boxing. He came out unorthodox like he normally is, but with confidence. But then in the second round, he started taking too many punches upstairs, opened up the body. Once he took that shot downstairs to the liver by a heavy body puncher like Zepeda, it was only going to be a matter of time. Vicious knockdown. You can talk the talk, but you got to walk the walk. Cabrera didn't do that.
You know, that fight went exactly as I expected. Right at the top of the first round, I said body shot, body shot. He left himself open for body shots. And sure enough, even though I thought Cabrera had a pretty good first round, was effective, landed some heavy shots, really made, I thought, Zepeda think in that first round. You could tell that fatigue quickly set in on him, and he couldn't keep the fresher, the more in shape Zepeda off of him. And you saw the result of it. Zepeda just started wailing away on that midsection. It was 3 or 4 shots on the midsection before Cabrera took that knee. And I think he knew if he had gotten up, more of them were coming, and I don't think he wanted any part of it.
Yeah, it was an uncharacteristically quiet first round for William Zepeda. He landed or threw punches in and around the 50s. We just don't see that from him. So Cabrera was doing something in that opening round. But Sergio, I'll toss it to you. Do you think Zepeda had to make any adjustments in there, or was it just a matter of turning up the temperature in rounds 2 and 3?
It was just a matter of time. I mean, you had an aggressive southpaw in Zepeda against an aggravating southpaw in Cabrera, and Cabrera fought his fight. But look, he boxed his fight in the second half of the fight, or in the second round. He had a fight off Zepeda, and he couldn't do that. That's the thing about fighting William Zepeda. You got to box him, you got to fight him, and if you can't do both, you're not going to make it to the end.
So Zepeda celebrating with his team. Chris, you were in the ring talking to both Zepeda and his trainer Panda, and you laid out some of the potential options for Zepeda. What do they look like right now?
Well, right now, William Zepeda is still the #1 contender for all 4 of the sanctioning bodies. So the options are plentiful at the moment. Now, Gervonta Davis and Vasily Lomachenko, they reportedly have been in talks to have a unification fight sometime later this year. We mentioned Shakur Stevenson a couple of times. He is going to be a free agent after his title defense later tonight. That certainly is on the table. But you heard, Panda speak about this. You heard Oscar De La Hoya speak about this. Moments ago, I was chatting with Eric Gomez, the president of Golden Boy. He brought Dennis Baranchik's name up, the WBO title holder. I'm told that they have spoken to the WBO about making a fight between Baranchik and Zepeda. That certainly is a fight that could happen before the end of the year.
Yeah, and it seems like the most realistic, possible route for Zepeda right now. Obviously, much bigger names, some of those other options. But Sergio, if he can beat Baranchik, he picks up a title. I mean, listen, no one loves the potential of this style matchup against Zepeda, but if he offers the potential of unification, suddenly he's a little bit more tantalizing.
Baranchik's the way to go. I mean, look, Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions, doing his job. He says, we want Shakur Stevenson, we want Tank Davis. Yes, those are the big names, and it sounds great, but I think the way to go is Baranchik, because that's a winnable fight. Against the other guys, I would have Zepeda as the underdog, but either way, Zepeda earned his shot at a world title. I think Baranchik's the way to go. Either way, this man's destined to fight a champion.
I don't know that I'd make him the underdog against any of those guys. Sergio.
Against Tank?
I don't know if I'd make him the underdog against Tank. Like, look, Tank is certainly capable of landing a massive counter.
Excuse me. Who did you have at #1 in your lightweight rankings?
Tank Davis.
And you would favor Zepeda over the #1 guy?
I think Zepeda's output would be a huge problem for Tank in a fight. It'd be incredibly competitive. Tank's capable of shutting your lights off at any moment. But I would call it a 50-50 type of fight between Zepeda and Tank Davis. I do agree. Baranchik is the way to go. If they can make that fight happen, do it. But these other guys, whether it's Lomachenko, Tank, Shakur Stevenson, you've got to contend with a guy that throws around 100 punches per round. We saw Cabrera have some success early on, get a little awkward, a little unorthodox, and then he eventually succumbed in the 3rd round. Look, that wasn't quite the same as Maxie Hughes saying, no, I don't want any more coming out of his corner. But that was by staying on his knee all the way up to the count of 10. That was Giovanni Cabrera saying, I don't want any more. We've seen a lot of that from opponents of William Zepeda.
Yeah, and listen, whether he's favored or not against those names, I think that's what makes Zepeda interesting, because his style of fighting instantly recognizable to anyone out there watching. Everyone can understand volume. Everyone loves pressure, and he would force any of these lightweights to have to make adaptations. They're going to have to adapt to him in that fight. Whether they win, whether they're favored or not, Zepeda's going to draw something different out of any of those names.
No, and you know, when it comes to fighters like Shakur Stevenson, who wants to be more of a fighter, you know, we know he's a brilliant boxer. You know, he's a southpaw as well, but you know, he wants to put butts in seats. He wants to do what Zepeda did tonight. But in order to do that, you have to get a little bit more flat-footed and fight off the guys that are put in front of you. Stevenson can prove that against Zepeda. I would favor Stevenson in that fight, but yes, I would love to see it. Against Tank, that will be a war. Against Lomachenko, be similar. Lomachenko using angles. Zepeda just proved he's a beast, and he did it once again on the big stage.
What I love about the lightweight division now is that you do seem to have 4 guys that want to collect all the belts. That wasn't really a priority for Tank earlier in his career, but he said publicly that he wants to make unification fights, and if he makes a fight with Lomachenko, that would be the first step towards that. Shakur has said multiple times, I want to be the undisputed champion. We know where William Zepeda stands. So, look, I think there is the possibility that we get all these fights that we're looking for at 135 at some point over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's a nice pattern we're seeing, kind of a, you know, the copycat crime of in boxing version, just trying to collect these titles, trying to become undisputed. Logistically, Chris, just quickly, I don't think he'd have to go to Ukraine to fight Baranchik. I would imagine that fight would come here.
I think that's a makeable fight in the U.S., potentially in Las Vegas. I think there'd be a lot of interest in Vegas in a fight like that. No, I don't think William Zepeda is going to have to go overseas to try to win his first title. I think that could come right here in the USA.
All right, well, thank you so much for watching, everyone. An exciting night from here in Ontario, California. That's a wrap on an entertaining night of boxing here on DAZN. For Sergio Mora, Chris Mannix, and the rest of our crew, I'm Corey Erdman saying good night and thanks for watching. And just a reminder that just announced August 10th, it is the return of Virgil Ortiz as he takes on Sergey Boachuk with the WBC Interim World Super Welterweight title on the line from the Michelob Ultra Arena. You never want to miss it when Virgil Ortiz is in the ring. And plenty of hard-hitting action coming your way on DAZN as Jake Paul returns to the ring on Saturday, July 20th in Tampa, Florida to take on the UFC vet Mike Perry. And the big fights keep on coming with a stacked Riyadh season card. August 3rd in Los Angeles sees Terrence Crawford challenge Israel Madrimov for the WBA and WBO Interim World Super Welterweight titles. And finally, Riyadh season continues at Wembley Stadium as we're headed to London for a huge September showdown. Saturday, September 21st, Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. And that's not all. We've got the return of the GWOAT.